It's the IMO pod with 3 young kings, Sukali, DT and Uzi on this. In my opinion, we're the pod of the year. We mix the banter with the edutainment. Sukali, you know, be the girl them sugar. Don't talk DT, designate driver. Tumichi Susa, Uzi takes it too far. You never know how far you can go if you don't try. We and them boys, we're not cohesive.
Wow, I hear that.
Wow. But she demonstrated that love, like
in actions.
Yeah. Like, a million times. To me, that was demonstrated. Then I realised that perhaps that was just that generation. You know, they just like didn't. Oh, it was just that generation.
Yeah.
So she didn't say it to any of your siblings?
Huh?
Your siblings never got the "I love you" either?
No.
Okay, so it wasn't personal.
No.
Okay, cool.
And then when you speak to your friends and that, like now, when I speak to my friends now, like they're like sharing the same stories with me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So it's like the Windrush parents from that generation weren't that loving towards their children.
I don't think they had the time
in that way.
Yeah.
They're too busy like holding down 2-3 jobs and so forth, etc. You know, but that to me, like I didn't think or feel like I was missing any type of love. But it's fair to say that although that love was around, it's fair to say that we weren't materially blessed, you know. So we didn't have things around the house and toys and this, that, and the other, and so forth. And you know, and so very early on, you know, I entered criminality.
Yeah,
you know, when I guess when I was, and I say very early on, I remember.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, at what age was it when?
Well, look, I grew up in a very Christian household. Yeah, so my mum was a Pentecostal. Yeah.
You went to like 4 churches a day. Or
5 churches.
Sunday.
5 churches.
In one day?
Yeah. Well, 5 churches in a week. Because I went to, the school I went to was Keble, which was a Church of England school.
Right.
And then we went to a Baptist church on a Sunday morning. Then went to the Salvation Army Church in the afternoon.
You little church hopping.
Yeah, and then we went to a Pentecostal church straight afterwards. And then the van will come back for the evening session, come and pick us up again and bring us back to the church again. So there's like four.
Was really trying to give you lot Christ, didn't it?
Yeah, trust, man. But you know what? And so the Salvation Army Church, which was mainly like a Caucasian congregation, and also the Baptist Church, and I would have been about like 4, 5, 6, 7, you know, and you know when the offering goes, and that, you know, we just take the offering and put our hands in and scoop up some change and pass it on, you know, and like that was the first act of criminality. But where did that criminality take place? You know?
So you didn't fear God
in the church.
Wow.
In the church, but that was in the Baptist church, which is again Caucasian led, and the Salvation Army Church. You think I could do that you think I could have done that in the Pentecostal church? You must be crazy.
They would have been driving out demons.
Did you try?
No.
You were smart enough to know.
Yeah. And then that led to when I was about 7, 8, 9, we used to do my first commercial activity.
Right.
Or I'll say commercial enterprise.
Right.
Was Penny for the Old Guy. Something that you guys would never know.
I was listening
this generation don't know about.
So
basically, right, you would do like a scarecrow.
Right.
So you'd get some old clothes, right? Like even like let's just say a tracksuit, and you stuff the tracksuit with newspaper. You try and dress the tracksuit up like a mannequin, yeah. Right. But it's not a mannequin. It's just stuffed with newspaper. You stuff it up with newspaper, the head and that. Then you put a hat on. You put a hat on. Then you put shoes on, etc. You know. Then you just put gloves on, etc. It looks like a person.
A person now, yeah.
And you put it in a pushchair or a pram.
Yeah.
And then you just wheel it out to the high road now, right? So you have to pitch your spot. So I used to go to the bingo. And some people will go to like a train station or a bus stop or a pub, where there's a lot of footfall, where there's a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
And the pitch is just straightforward. You just stand up there, you got your tin on the floor, you say penny for the old guy. Penny for the old guy. But,
oh my God.
But you will do that. Because you got Guy Fawkes, which is bonfire night, which is the 5th of November.
Right.
So you do that like maybe like the first week in October. So you got clear 5 weeks run
Cool.
at it. You with me? You can't do
Ready
it
for
like
the old guy.
you can't do it like September, August. Exactly. You got to do it in the run up.
Right.
Because what you had in that pram was a guy, and then on bonfire night, you take the guy and you put it on a bonfire and you burn the guy. You follow?
Wow,
You burn the
okay.
guy,
So wait, is
yeah.
this the same guy as in Guy Fawkes, or is this another guy?
Guy Fawkes,
So this is
yeah.
So people know this is not a real. It's not a baby. It's not like you're pretending for it to be a baby.
No, they know.
They know it's fake.
Yeah. It's like the British culture, you know,
Oh,
or the
okay.
English culture
Wow.
at that time.
At that
For the
time,
old
yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
So where did you get the money for the pushchair? Did you just reinvest the profit? How did you get the?
No, so basically we because I followed my brother and his friends in doing it, right?
Right.
Because the Irish boys, they were on it good.
Right.
And
Sounds like something they would
I
do.
saw how they were like. Cause my brother didn't really want me to follow him. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know when you're following your brother, right?
You didn't want him to get in trouble
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
And you're seeing like how they're doing it. And I thought, I can do
I
that.
could do that.
So I went away and make my own guide, done my own thing, and I thought, them not going to the pub. I'm gonna go to the bingo because the bingo is when all
Smart.
the women come out the bingo, and I mean they're like, look at
Yeah.
you and you're hustling.
Yeah.
They throw down some money.
Yeah.
How much could you make?
Huh?
Like, I don't know if you can even equate it to nowadays.
Oh, I
But
can't remember. It was decent income.
Good money, yeah?
decent income. And
Wow.
one time, the first act of racism hit me.
Ah,
We used to have this tramp called Ginger.
right.
And like Ginger was always like, he was part of the community, you know, white dude.
Why, dude?
And he was always drunk and that, right? I think it was Irish. I'm not too sure. Anyway, and he was asking me to like give him some money and that, right? So I took him into the fish and chip shop, you know, and I buy him some fish and chips, you know. I give him a can of drink, and I give him some money and that, you know.
Yeah.
And I went home and I felt good that, you know, I blessed this man. You know, for about 8 years old.
No
you know?
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Next time the man see me, right? Man's calling you black boss. What? I said, for fuck's sake, you remember me?
Yeah.
You remember me? My man's chucking tins of can at me, calling me
What?
black bastard. and all
Wow.
that, yeah.
That's mad.
they forget so quick, eh?
Oh, they really do. They really
Crazy.
do. They really do.
I was reading up. You're from like Northwest London, yeah.
Yeah.
So NW10
he loves
to be
that,
precise,
innit?
yeah. Obviously,
To
I'm
be
from.
precise.
Do you? Because obviously, at some point, you said like you was in care and stuff, so you
Yeah.
ended up in a different area,
Yeah.
like with a different sort of like environment to what you're used to. And
Yeah.
obviously, growing up in Northwest, do you feel like if you stayed in that area initially, your life would have turned out different, or no?
I've got no idea, you know. Like, one thing is, I look back and I've learned many lessons. I don't accept mistakes, but I do accept lessons. I have experiences that I draw lessons from, yeah?
Yeah.
But I don't make mistakes. Right? And there's no regrets. Yeah, there's nothing in life I regret, you know, or I should have done it differently, or should have done it. No. You got to find the lesson, take the lesson and keep it moving, you know. And so, like, growing up in different areas, like, or different environments, it's just about adapting, you know, because if you try and swim it against the tide, you're just burning energy for, like, no good reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just go with the
Swimming
flow.
in one spot.
But then you say that in your book, you mention how your generation, the Windrush, are the ones that really helped with race relations. So had they not swam against the tide, wouldn't we wouldn't be where we are now, wouldn't you say?
So our generation, yeah, so we fought. And the generation before me,
Yeah.
or I should say the generation before me, and our generation, we fought really hard against, you know, for better race relations, you know. We fought hard against the way that we were treated by the institutions, you know, especially the police force. Then it was called the police force. Now they rebranded, they call themselves the police service.
Yeah, Met Police.
You hear the
Yeah.
difference in
All
the
of
words
that.
on
I didn't even clock
Police
that.
service,
The
From
nuances.
force.
from force to service, you know. And it's still not serving, that's better. That's
Of
another
course,
story.
yeah.
But yeah, so you know, so we did a lot, and again in terms of like, better access to education, stuff like that, and so forth. So our generation did a lot of good, but I also think the generation did a lot of damage
Oh, okay.
as well.
What kind of damage?
And I'm not talking the Windrush generation. I'm talking so like, if you think about like parents now, definitely in their 50s and 60s, yeah, and if you're in your 50s, the likelihood is you were still born in England from Windrush parents. I know people in their 60s that were still born in England from Windrush parents. Yeah, so the Windrush generation, most of them came en masse. In the late 50s. So from the late 50s, from late 1950s onwards, they were having children. Yeah. So people born in the late 50s and early 60s, that's proper Windrush children. You follow? And largely, I'd say 99% of them came from the Caribbean. Yeah. You know the maddest thing? I was 4.5 years old when I met my first African friend. As a Nigerian youth, right?
Yeah.
He was like younger than me. He's probably about 3, and that's probably like 4 or 5, right? And he came in our public housing estate. I'm digressing there, but I want to get to this quickly, right? So he came onto our estate, and so I would have been about 5, saying, so he would have been about 4, yeah. And I remember, so it was just him and his mum, and they had a chicken. Right, in the house.
Real life chicken?
Yeah, real life chicken. What? In the house, yeah. Right?
It's nothing,
It was just him and his mum, right?
This is mad.
So this would have been about like 1970, 1971.
Right, okay.
Real life chicken. So like, they had Christmas, innit? And then Christmas was done, innit? And I went over and like, where's the chicken? Where's the chicken?
The
chicken got murdered. Chicken got murdered. But that was the first. That was my first connection with like
African. Yeah. Right.
And like the other 2 connections were like I kind of grow with 2 other guys, you know. So during my teenage life,
right,
I kind of grew with 2 other Nigerians. Like one of them was just a freaking out and out bully, innit? So whatever he used to see, it's just like take your things, innit?
Yeah.
And the other one was a few years older than me. You know what I mean? So it was all cool, but. Basically, what I'm basically saying is, in my growing up, we weren't exposed to anyone outside of the Caribbean community because we didn't really see much Nigerians or much Ghanaians or any other part of Africa in England, you know. And it wasn't until I was 17 years old and I got sentenced to 2 years in jail, and I was in Chelmsford. And I buck up on a guy called another Nigerian guy, another Ghanaian guy shared a cell with a Ghanaian guy and a Nigerian guy. Then it took from there, but that was like 1984. And then from like the mid 80s onwards, now,
started to see.
I begin to see more and more Nigerians. It was Nigerians first, and then Ghanaians, and then after the Ghanaians, I think it was the Ethiopians.
Right,
no. The Somalians.
The Somalians.
So they start to come differently, you know, like throughout the 90s and into the new millennia. They start to come differently. Yeah.
What's the worst form of racism you've had? One example. Back in the day.
I still get it now, mate.
Yeah, I think now it's very modern, but I was just wondering how was it?
Racism.
Yeah, how was it back in the day?
The classic ones.
Do you know what? Because I've so normalized it, like because I don't receive it, like because I've just normalized it. I can't pick out a specific one.
Okay,
going back in that day, because back in that day, you just accepted it, innit? You just accepted that you're in England, you're in London, you live in Harlesden, or wherever you live. Yeah, there's going to be a degree of racism. Yeah,
and this just is what it is.
And this is what it is. This is life. You just get on with it, navigate it, and succeed nonetheless. Because I'm not the one to use that as a reason for not succeeding or for not wanting to do something. You follow? I'm saying, listen, I'm not going to be that one-trick pony that all the conditions have to be right for you to succeed, because that's never going to freaking happen. You know what I mean? Your conditions are never going to be right. You understand? Like, you've got to be able to succeed in whatever the weather, whatever the condition. Do you know what I mean? So that's how you build up strength, and that's how you build resilience. You know, because every time you've got opposition and you overcome, you're more resilient. You're more stronger.
Don't kill you, makes you stronger.
I mean, and that's what you need. You follow? And you know what? Racism, like, that's part of it, man.
Is like not hanging on to that. No, I definitely like that. I just wanted to go back because I know you said you sidetracked. You wanted to go back to it, but just quickly, you grew up in a home. How did that happen? How did that come about?
When you say home,
Because you said when you grew up in a
so I grew up in a Christian home with my family.
Right.
There was me, my brother who's slightly older than me, and 3 other sisters. So I'm one of 5. I'm the youngest of 5.
okay.
It's what we call the wash belly. Yeah.
Wash belly.
Yeah.
Oh, because you were the last.
I'm
So
the
you,
last
you
out
cleaned
of
the
the
belly.
belly.
That's it.
Yeah. A Jamaican thing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Let's learn that today.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then at the age 11, I went into care.
Right. Yeah.
So that's when the state removes you from like your mother's, from your mum, from your parents.
They've done that to the
natural
Windrush,
parents.
isn't it? Back in those days,
Yeah.
it was like a thing back then, isn't it?
Yeah, where they say basically, oh, your parents don't have the resources or don't have the wherewithal to look after you. In my case, it was my criminality, what they call my offending behaviour, and they said that they needed to remove me from my mum for my own protection.
Wow.
Yeah, because at age 11, I got convicted for possession of a firearm.
Wow.
Amongst other things. So because of that conviction, so they removed me from my mum. So I went into a secure unit, and then I went to an assessment centre in Red Hill. And so there's, I was like 11 at the time. There's 2 sections from 11-year-olds to 14-year-olds, I think. And then you had a senior section from 14-year-olds to 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
There's probably about 30 guys in each section. So it's probably about 60 in the entire complex.
Okay.
And so that was like the first time like removed from my family and having to live, like in care, in dormitories, and like there are people that are there to.
Was it mixed or was it
yeah,
just boys?
it's mixed. No, boys.
It's just boys.
Boys,
Okay.
yeah.
Wow.
And there are people that are there to protect you, not protecting you, abusing you, all sorts of abuse, racial, physical, sexual, any type of abuse. They're freaking committing it, and these are the care staff that are there to protect you. Do you understand?
What?
So the state is committing children, into the care of these freaking care workers who just turn around and just like abuse you.
Wow.
Like, racially, physically, mentally, sexually, they just abuse you.
And there's no one you can go to because these are the ones that are supposed to be taking care of you.
Exactly. And you know what? Like, we know that went on. We know that was commonplace for many a years. But many a guys ain't speaking about it. They don't want to speak about it.
Why is that? Because we spoke about it. I shared my story, how I was like sexually abused by a woman that was older than me.
Yeah.
And the reason why man them don't talk about it is because it's so normalized. It's almost like when you're younger.
Yeah, we laughed at him.
Yeah, they laughed because they're like, and he was like, "Didn't you enjoy it? Because it was an older woman."
At it, yeah.
And I know you said that on your book as well. Like your first sexual experience was with an older girl as well. Why don't we talk about?
So
That's
mine.
abuse.
But you know what?
Sorry.
Yeah.
He was sorry.
That was abuse.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't see that as abuse.
Exactly.
That was a woman.
Yeah.
But when you talk about these care workers, they're all freaking men.
Oh, they're all men.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they're proper trying to like masturbate you and force their tongue down your mouth and
Jesus Christ.
trying to get their mouth over your dick and this, that.
What?
Proper like
And what ethnicity are they?
Huh?
What ethnicity are they? Are they all black, white,
Caucasian.
Caucasian.
There was one care worker there, and I'll call his name, Mr. Gay.
Yeah, call his name.
His name is Mr. Gay.
Mr. Gay.
mean-
From Trinidad. No, from Trinidad. A black man. A black man, he would physically brock you up if you was like disobedient, but he didn't come to you with no sexual behavior.
Okay.
But he was just a man.
He was just strict.
Yeah,
Straight,
he was just he ain't got no time for you. He just brock you up.
So what? You wouldn't now want to go back and get justice, or is it one of
Do you know what? I've driven back there years ago. Years ago, and the place has closed down, and they've like when I went back there, it was just a demolition site.
Wow.
And I went back there again, and now I see they've got developments like
Houses and
builds,
stuff, flats.
residential developments there. Yeah, some place in Red Hill. Yeah, and
Wow.
yeah, man, that's like so that in me that helped to feed my anti-authority. 'Cause I just became so anti-authority, so distrusting of anyone in authority. Just so distrusting, you know. But yeah, but that's there you sort of like, because there's the guys there, they're black, they're white, they're indifferent, they're mixed race, etc., so forth, and you just learn to live with other people. You take on other people. You know, you see other people's like lifestyles or their way of life, etc. And again, when I went to a community school and a different boarding school, all like funded by the state, you know, you're just showing different ways of living. But yes, but I've gone through like all those teenage years without just really just like absent affection and absent love.
Love, yeah.
And I guess that plays out in your later life. It kind of just plays out, you know, when like women trying to like bring you that type of affection, it's like you kind of just cool, man.
Yeah.
Don't overdo it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why these lot call me that I'm not
I mean,
they said I'm not a sensitive guy, but
it's cool. But like, but if you get behind the behavior, there's a reason.
you can understand it.
You can understand it.
So, you know, like I was obviously during your book, it sounds like you've had a lot of stints with the law. Like you've been in prison and stuff. You've been in different care homes. Where was your mum at that point? Was she still visiting? Was she still involved in your life? Or
bless her, man. So like, my mum, she was like, wow, man. She was loyal to me, like proper loyal. No matter where I was, you know, she'd come and see me. You know, she'd travel like 2 hours for a 15-minute court hearing, you know, and travel 2 hours back, you know. And like, my mum was like, she's blind in one eye. You know, she's a country girl from Jamaica, so she was illiterate, you know. So she's not one to read signs and so forth. So for her to get around public transport,
that's extraordinary.
Yeah, so come to all the different prisons that I was in, and so until I just said, no, you know what, I'm abusing my mum. I can't let her do this no more. So I said, tell her to like, nah, I'm good, man. You don't have to come.
Well, that's nice that she gave you support, man. And actually, you mentioned the eye situation. I was reading your book. You mentioned that your mum and her sister didn't get along, and you felt like your sister did. Is it Obia?
Yeah, so that's the story. So the story is that my mum and her sister Olive's a few years older. My grandmother, Lady P, her favourite was my mum, and my mum's sister Olive didn't like it. This was when they were in their teens, and I say the story because I don't know. So the story goes that Olive practiced Obia on my mum. Juju.
Yeah, Juju.
I thought Juju was only in Africa. It's also
Juju's everywhere.
Man.
Just come in different grade. Different grade, different style.
Different grade, like Bud, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, different strains.
Different strains of it.
It's everywhere, bro.
Yeah, and my mom got blinded, you know, in her eye, in her left eye.
So that's where it came.
So that's how they say that happened. That was the story.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's not confirmed, but
It's not confirmed.
Okay.
But were they on good terms when you was older? Did they have a good relationship?
Like,
They weren't talking?
No, I mean, I've never spoken to my mom's sister.
Wow.
Okay.
Because she died in Jamaica, but my mom when my mom came to England in 1960, she never went back to Jamaica.
She never went back.
And she never spoke to Olive again.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Wow. That's very sad.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've been through a lot of adversity. So when was that point? Because obviously in your book, I heard that you went to Jamaica and you were on a boat, and that's when you came up with the idea for your magazine.
Yeah.
When did you stop the criminality? When would you wake up and be like, do you know what, this is it? I want to go on a straight and narrow.
And this is what I want to do.
You know, there was a time when a good brethren of mine, I'm sure you wouldn't, a good friend of mine, Ray Theron, he's now a very prolific actor, actually.
Oh, okay.
And he and I was involved in criminality, and his whole family was all involved in criminality. And then, like, I think it's like, he was like 14, 15, he's saying, yo, P, man, I'm going to jump off this, man. I'm going to pursue. I said, what? We're just getting into this criminal stuff, man.
Just getting started.
What do you mean, man?
Just getting our feet wet.
What do you mean? Yeah? And I remember we was in this remand centre called bloody hell, it's in Shepherd's Bush somewhere.
Scrubs.
No.
Is
Shepherd's
it?
Bush. No, not that. Was it for juveniles? Stamford House. They've knocked it down now, right? This place called Stamford House on Goldhawk Road. And was in the kitchen washing up the pots, scrubbing the pots for the morning and that. And he goes, I've had enough, man. I'm going to jump off this, man. I thought, I don't believe you,
Yeah.
He just started this thing. And he actually did. He went back to school, then he went to college, then he played tennis, then he pursued an acting career. He's a successful actor.
That's good, man.
And, you know, I tried to like follow him, but I thought, well, what can I do? I don't have no skills. What can I do? You know, I'm just a freaking criminal. And so I didn't, you know. And then there was a time when I was in jail. I was in Portland. I was 19. And I was in Portland and I was smoking some bud there. And I remember I thought I was going mad. Like the cell was closing in on me. And these like single cells. And I went to the window and I fly the window and I was just holding my hands on the bars and I just saying, God, please, 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 I need to wake up with my sanity. Let me wake up with my sanity.
Sanity, yeah.
I ain't coming back here again. Just give me my sanity. Because during that time, a lot of man them were going to jail and they were coming out mad.
Wow.
Right? And it was during that time, like you had like prison guards, they would administer the liquid cosh if you were acting up or if you were assaulting police officers, if you were assaulting prison officers or assaulting other inmates. If you were going on uncontrollably, they'll give you the liquid cosh, which is a sedative. But sometimes that the prescriptive amount is an overdose and it fucks with your head.
Jesus.
Yeah. And it just brings on a psychosis, as well as it relaxes your muscles and you can't do anything. It brings on a type of psychosis, innit? And I've seen a lot of people that have gone jail.
And then come out.
And just come out jail.
Mental.
And like, I just did not want that. I got a fear about mental illness. And I just did not want that to happen to me. I just didn't want it to happen to me. And I prayed that night. You know, and I woke up in the morning and I was all right, man.
Yeah.
Thought, you know what?
This is it, man.
I have to keep this promise, man. I've got to keep this promise. And when I came out, I said, you know what? Okay, let me just try this legitimate thing. Just try this thing, you know. And yeah, and so I just decided to go on a load of interviews. My sister backed me. She was funding my expenses to go and all these interviews and that. And I took the lowest off the low, like being a salesperson, going door to door, canvassing.
Door to door, so.
Yeah, and then I just built it from there, but very, very rapidly. Because as soon as I realised I could do, as soon as you see something, you can see how to improve it. You just improve it. And being that, like, you're from the road and you've got the hustler
mentality.
You
can't lose.
I mean, so you're always looking to improve the situation. And so doing that in a legitimate setting, I was achieving things in record time. And for a young guy as well, like record time.
Wow.
So how did the magazine come about? Because it's not every day, like, not to stereotype, but if I saw you, I wouldn't think this guy owns a magazine. Do you know what I mean? There's a kind of look that you would expect someone that owns a magazine to have.
Like Dapper Dan type thing.
Yeah. So, like, how did the magazine idea come about? And
I at the time I had my own business, so I was doing. I was 24 and I was doing. I had a sales training and publishing business, sales training and marketing business, which was doing really, really well. I got some really big name clients and so forth. Faith Shoes and Halifax, B&Q, BT. You know, these guys are spending 60, 70 grand a time with me, you know.
Wow.
And you got to, let's bring this back. This was like 1989.
big money.
89.
89.
I was just about a year old them times.
Doing marketing for them, yeah?
Sales. I said, go in and train their salespeople how to sell.
Oh, right. Okay, wow, yeah.
You know, and how to sell property. When Halifax had the property services, when they had the estate agent arm. So I used to train their top salespeople how to sell.
That's crazy.
And so forth. Yeah, and I was like this young black guy. I was like 23, 24.
Jesus Christ.
And and I was like approaching that millionaire like status as well, just through that business, you know. And so my girlfriend at the time, Faye, bless her, she had this idea to publish this magazine called The Connoisseur Guide in 4- and 5-star hotels throughout London, throughout central London, and sell the advertising on it. It was a good idea. So I backed her on it with funds and to get up and go, but it wasn't really working for her.
Right.
And so I put some of my team onto her team, and it still wasn't working. But anyway, we're now approaching the end of, I think it was 1990, and me and my friend flew out to Fort Lauderdale. I used to have an apartment in Fort Lauderdale. And so I used to go
Florida,
there.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to go there as often as I can just to get the benefit of, the apartment.
Yeah.
So me and my friend at the time, Terry, we flew out to Fort Lauderdale and was having a nice time. But he was on the thing like, yo, man, like, I want to see people that look like me, P. I got that. People are around that look like me, man. But anyway, so we went down to like Miami, went to the beaches there and so forth. And I remember us going to, went to this club, Luke's, which was owned by this rapper from Luke from Two
Uncle
Live
Luke?
Crew.
Oh.
From the Two Live Crew.
Is it Uncle Luke? It is Uncle Luke, isn't it? Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he had this club called Luke's in Miami. So me and my friend Terry was in this club and I rave, and then like, we're seeing these girls and we're chatting to these girls, and they're basically just saying to us, so what do you do for a living? And I go, yeah, I publish a magazine, etc. And I go, oh yeah. What type of magazine you publish? And I was explaining to them that the magazines that I publish, so she could go, who's your audience?
Yeah.
I goes, guests in 4 and 5 star hotels. So she goes, oh, you're not publishing like a John Johnson magazine, like an Ebony type magazine?
Oh,
goes, no.
Ebony, yeah. Ebony was big back then.
I goes, no. She goes, what? You don't do nothing for your people?
No,
I'm publishing no magazine. And then time to put some context on this, I was had this individualistic way about me. So I used to have this Mohican, right?
All right.
And had my hair shaved at both sides.
Yeah.
This Mohican and this
Like
ponytail.
Mr. T.
Yeah.
Coming like right
With the
way
ponytail
down.
right about.
Yeah, so I look very, I look different to like,
Yeah.
like they just walked away from us, man. And my friend said to me, see how you just freaking just lose the things then. Right? And my friend goes to me, come man, let's go freaking, so a few days he goes to me, P, you're gonna enjoy it. Let's just take a flight. Let's go Jamaica for Christmas. Or for
Wow.
New Year. Let's just go because you're gonna love it. It's just a flight. So I said, okay, fine. So me and jump on the plane and we flew out to Jamaica. So I'm going to Jamaica for the first time.
For the first time.
Yeah, and I'm 24 now, right?
Wow.
And so, I was at a place called Duns River, and most people know it, And as far as I can see, I could just see people that just look like me.
Yeah. Everywhere.
The food was the food that I know. The language,
That must have spun you, isn't it?
Yeah.
The first time you're thinking, whoa.
It was just like, the music, the culture, everything.
It made sense.
Everything, but there's only people that look like me. Yeah, anything. And like I just descending down Duns River now. I was like going up. Yeah, because by the time I come down to like the beach part, I said to myself, you know what, P, like my guy is gonna the Allied forces are gonna go to war with Kuwait. And if they go to war and invade Kuwait to get Saddam Hussein out of Kuwait, because Saddam Hussein occupied Kuwait, and Allied forces was telling Saddam, come out, I won't be coming in, and he wouldn't go out. So I thought they're going to come in. If they come in, airport travel's going to drop. If airport travel drops, we're not going to get no ad revenue for the magazine, so that's going to be a killer. Right, so I goes, you know what? It just came to me. Why don't we just pivot, and just publish a magazine, for women of color, and so that idea just grew on me. It was an epiphany. It just grew on me. I went on a boat, bring some bud, bring some drink on a boat. Adam Meds out there. By the time we came back to shore, I said, yeah, the magazine's called Pride. I know I'm doing it. The name just came to me, so the magazine's called Pride. When I came out to England, I told the team, I didn't discuss it with them, I just said, this is what we're doing. Yeah. A couple of people resigned. I thought, all right, cool. There was I had a couple of white guys in it, and they resigned.
Of course, yeah.
All right, cool, because this is our thing.
Of course, yeah.
Our culture.
Exactly.
And that was January 1991, when I said, yeah, we're going to launch Pride. And so said, so done. The Allied forces went into Kuwait, air travel plummeted. hotel occupancy plummeted, so we would have been dead in the water.
Anyway, so you made a good decision.
So it was a very.
Anyway.
So this is what tells me like information is important, and knowing what to do with that information is key.
Yeah.
That's dope. I love that.
So we published Pride,
Yeah.
and you know, like I always say that, even when, because we were still novice, we were still new beginners in this publishing thing. There's me and 4 other people, like me, Faye Williamson, Leroy Morgan, William, and Song. It's just 4 of us. I say 5, it's just the 4 of us. And we were new to this game, you know, but like we had to, because we went about our business in such a professional way, you know, we brought in the right talent, and we took it somewhere. Even I reached out to John Johnson. This guy's a publisher of Ebony magazine. Yeah. Right, and I reached out to him. I sent him a letter, right, and I sent him a copy of the magazine, and I go to him, "You're my hero, right? I'm inspired by you." You know? And I said to him, "We're just doing this thing, innit, right?" I goes, "Can you just send us and can we come to you, right? Expenses paid for 1 week, to learn about the business of publishing and how you do your thing, etc." And I never heard from this man. Wow. Right? And like 2 weeks later, my officer says to me, P, come, John Johnson, his secretary's on the phone. So I picked the phone up. She goes, "Mr. Murray, I've got John Johnson on the phone. I want to put him through to you." Oh,
what?
You know, like, yo, like,
that's crazy.
The thing is, I was right at a low because I'd written off my car, you know, and I was still pulling out freaking clumps of windscreen from my head.
No way. So you had an accident.
Yeah,
Jesus.
seriously. Yeah, I went through the windscreen. A drunk driver pulled out in front of me, and I was driving over.
So you hit, and then boom. Ooh.
Yeah.
And back in them days, seatbelts weren't a thing, innit?
Correct,
yeah. Wow.
And so I was at a low. I wanted a break because everywhere we was turning to is just
shut.
Closed doors. I wanted a break, innit? And John Johnson said to me, Mr. Murray, he said, "You got to cheat." He goes, "You got the audacity to ask me to like fund you and your team to have a all-week expenses, a 1 week expenses paid at my expense to learn about publishing." He goes, "Why would I teach you about publishing?" I goes, "But you're my man. I'm inspired by you, you know?"
Wow.
He goes, "You're my competition."
Yeah.
He goes, "You are." I goes, "But how can I be your competition?" I goes, "You're American, we're British." He goes, No. He goes, "When a lady goes into that newsagent and she's down to her last $2, she has to make a choice between buying Ebony or buying Pride." And he goes, "For that reason, you're my competition."
I ain't doing it.
No way.
I ain't doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy.
But you were still successful without him.
Without him, though, isn't it? That's dope.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
And the magazine's still going on now as well.
Still is.
Yeah, I mean, I sold it after I had it for 3-4 years. I sold it to the Voice Communication Group.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask. Yeah, is this still owned? Is this still black owned? I was gonna ask.
The Voice had it for a few years, and then they sold it to a fella called CJ Kushney.
Wow.
At the time, CJ Kushney was reported to be the richest black man in Europe.
Oh.
He's a Jamaican as well, and he bought, and I think he bought it, and I think his son was, you know,
running it.
Yeah, etc. But you know, if truth be told, when I sold Pride, you know, I never bought another copy.
Wow.
Yeah, and I never read another copy.
That was just it. Just let it go. What year did you sell it?
End of '93.
Wow. Yeah. You didn't keep it for that long, did you?
No, I didn't. No, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, I just I've never looked back, but I've never picked. I mean, I've flipped through like issues to see, what's going on here,
but
I've never bought a copy, and I've never like literally gone through and read any articles.
Wow.
Firstly, there was a lot. I mean, I didn't really want to let Pride go at the time, and I did let it go at the time. So I guess there's a lot of pain there still.
But we don't regret anything.
They're all throwing messages at me. I think we're running a bit out of time. But just one last thing. Obviously, I prefer person for myself. Obviously, what brought the idea of a book? along? Why did you decide? You know what? You want to do a book?
You know what? Because I think
Even though I know why personally, I mean, you could write 2-3 books over, and then because your story is crazy. But obviously, just wanted to hear from you.
I think as a people, we don't document. And I know that now we're in this information age, a lot of things are documented now. Yeah. But the information age was only really since 2000 since the age of the internet and online did we enter the information age. So prior 2000, black people, black communities, they really weren't documenting much. They used to hand it down through hearsay.
Yeah,
that's true.
Like through spoken, for not being documented, and like to ask me about from my grandmother beyond, I can't tell you. I don't have that history.
No information.
I don't have that. And I thought, going forward,
let's change that.
From you,
let's change that. So I said to myself, you know what? I want to do this book, right? But I'm doing it as legacy for my children. So they've got something to pass down to their children and so forth. But as I got into the book, I thought, you know what? Let me just do this for the community.
Yeah.
And let me do it for the love. And then let me just... So the more I got involved, the more passionate I got about the book. Yeah. And the more people I wanted to just basically share that experience with. But predominantly, it's really for my children's sake. So because they don't really know about my criminality and how and my stories.
And you're not exactly going to sit there down and start talking them through it. Yeah.
And the entrepreneurial life that came about afterwards. Because you have to remember, very quickly, I learnt to read and write when I was in jail. To me.
Wow.
I only had 3 weeks of high school education. So I keep saying 3 months of high school education. You follow? So, so there's a lot there that I wanted to that my children don't know about, that I want them to not me to tell it, I want them to read it.
To read it, exactly,
and it's there.
Yeah.
And so that they
it's
can
there to pass on to their children and their children, and that's dope.
Correct.
Your story to me is very inspiring, especially for the man that say, I can't come off the road, there's no other option.
Yeah.
There is, because you're very successful. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think the book is very inspiring. What's the book called, and is it out? Where can they get it from?
Okay, so the book is called Self-Made, and it's by myself, PJ Murray. And but if you want to hear it on audio, then again, PJ Murray, but it's got a different title, and that title is A Little Way Different.
And everywhere, Amazon, because I saw it on Spotify as well. Everywhere, you can get it from everywhere.
Just type in A Little Way Different, PJ Murray, in your Google.
I'm definitely going to be sharing it.
And where can they find you?
Yourself, yeah.
Like Instagram, or do you have socials?
Oh yeah, so just go to so Self-Made PJM.
Self-Made PJM. We'll put it in the description. Yeah. Sadly, we've got to end the interview.
Oh man, this is sad, man.
It's great having you.
There's so much to get into. I feel like, but yeah, unfortunately, the studio,
No, but thank you for coming on.
Good, man. Good,
Hope you enjoy your 28 weeks.
Come on, please.
Africa.
No,
please remember us while you're there.
First place is Cape Town.
First place is Cape Town. You going Big Falls?
Yeah, I go Cape Town, then I go Namibia, then I go Botswana, I go Zambia, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Madagascar, and last place is Mozambique. That's the 8.
Now you're gonna have a time of your life. Listen. But yeah,
that's the whole of the south.
Yeah,
if you'll be vlogging, if you follow him, I'm sure he'll keep you up to date.
Yeah, for
sure. We've been In My Opinion podcast. Please continue to follow, like, share, subscribe. Let us know what you think of the episode. We appreciate you guys for supporting us. Till next time, peace.
Nice.
Yes, it's your boy DT, and this is the IMO podcast. We are here live at the London Podcast Studio. Use code IMO20 to get 20% off. Peace.
Amaka, Andrea, and Obi, they're steady working, so we ballin' like Kobe.